Okay, so here we are. The last forum post stopped with us just successfully taking this base. As you can see, there's still garrison units here that are combating our special forces. Our fleet is still moving in slightly to provide anti-air. This is the transport or cargo plane that dropped off our special forces units. It's moving back to base. This is our main base at the moment. We started out up here, if you will recall. The Soviets are surging forward, and in just a little bit I'll give you a better picture of what that looks like. You can see there's quite a lot of advanced, actually every one of these units are very advanced, and there are just hundreds and hundreds of them. So what I'm going to do is go back to here. We're going to pick up right where we left off. So the action starts now. I'm going to move my Air Force out of there. They don't have time to, there's no way for them to resupply and get any repairs done. I'm going to set my units to entrench. They did finally defeat the garrison, as you can see. And I'm going to throw 3 garrison units of ours in there. So we now have the air base. You can hear our artillery shelling the Russians back up at our main base. And I'm going to put all these planes in repair. The Russians are closing in on our positions. It's time to bring out the bombers. Now the hope is, the whole reason we took out this air base is to get those Terra Sahab fighters away from our aircraft. So hopefully the Russians will not be able to hamper our efforts up here. I'm also going to put this cargo plane in reserve. I need the base open for my combat aircraft. Now this is going to be a tricky situation here. We do not have a source of supply down here yet. Eventually we're going to want to capture the town and then build a naval port. But I know, or I have a strong suspicion that as soon as I move my ground forces over here, it's going to trigger another huge wave of Soviet aircraft. We believe they all went to this base here. We have no way to know for sure. But since these units are no longer in supply, I want to get some distance. Because I've seen firsthand what the Soviet missile forces can do, the missiles that come raining from the aircraft. And I have no desire to lose the majority of my naval assets at the moment. And just as we thought, since our naval forces left, the task force sailed, the Russians are taking advantage to move in. As I've repeatedly posted before, the only thing holding them back was a combination of the Air Force and the Navy bombarding them. So you always have to be diligent. You cannot give them any openings. In a moment I'll show you what it is I've been dealing with. I really do want to get some good distance here. I guess I have a great fear, or some would say respect, for the Soviet missile lobbying Air Force. So I'll move these subs up close to provide if we're lucky, when the Soviet aircraft come in, if they come in, the submarines will spot them, and the forces here will be able to shoot them. Now I'm just going to check their supply levels. This Gerald Ford's almost completely out of supply. He won't be able to... What is this? I hear aircraft. Submarines. Must be the home islands. No. Let's try back here. Unknown where that's coming from. That is unfortunate. We just have to keep our efforts up. The Air Force is doing an outstanding job. There's more submarine fire. Here we go. Russians are reacting to the incursion in their territorial waters here. Now, this I want in an effort to help you understand what I'm dealing with. Oh, a battleship. Oh, good, sunk. Here is the long list of Russian units that are coming in under our forces. I know I've posted screenshots of this, but I'm not sure that the screenshots do it justice. And you can see this goes on and on and on. And keep in mind, these are not single units, these are stacks and stacks of units. Just as far as I have range to view. And they're just slowly, steadily coming on. This is what we've been up against since the beginning of landing here in Siberia. And this is why it was so important for us to have both the Navy and the Air Forces to bombard these units on the ground. I'm not sure we'll be able to hold without the help of the Navy. I may have to order the Navy back on station here. I would like to get these guys up and running. Okay, they're being supplied, as you can see. Our garrisons are not up yet. But if I can get these 6 Special Forces units, they're all in full supply and are being rearmed, resupplied. I'm going to order them to march over here and assault the city proper. In the meantime, I really cannot let off. I got a diamond in Atlantic City. I'm going to allow them to bombard the ground units. As you can see, they've started bombarding ground units. It will help immensely. We only got 5 terror lamps are operational out of 13, which means we lost 1. We had a total of 14 going against the southern Soviet base. I'll send this Frez into repair. What we have currently in production is nothing. didn't have the money to produce anything, and even what we can produce, the only thing that even remotely stands a chance in huge groups is the XAVs. The Russian advantage is just so huge. You can see we're producing more Terra lamps. They're invaluable in helping stem the flow here. And what I'm going to do, since it looks like the Russians are picking up, they're intensifying, so I'm going to move some of these supply trucks to surround my airfield, and this will allow my bombers to resupply a lot faster and get back out on the attack. We have to press these 5 Terra lamps into combat. This is not looking good. Come on, stealth bombers. So essentially, this is basically what I'll be doing for the next several minutes, is just trying to push these Russian forces back. It's very slow going at the moment due to my lack of Terra lamps and Navy, because it was really ground forces, i.e. the stacked artillery I have, with the bombers and the Terra lamps and the naval units, was the only thing that was able to hold them at bay previously. And I'm not sure I conveyed that properly with just a single pix, but you can see now what it is I've been dealing with virtually since the moment we landed. Tell you what, those artillery units, I would prefer to have different artillery units. And then of course there's Russian fighters again. Those Terra Sahabs just have tremendous range, and apparently they're able to come all the way from Donetsk, I guess. I don't know, I'm not Russian, obviously. I guess it's not really that far when you think about it. It's a little less than 1,800 kilometers. Even the Terra lamps have a range of 5,600 kilometers. But it does mean less time on station when they do finally get up here. Due to them having to go further, they consume more fuel, as you can imagine. And I hear submarines again. And I think it's the home islands. The Royal Navy submarine forces have been excellent, and in fact that is the only reason England still exists as a coherent country. The submarine forces have kept the Red Bear at bay, if you will. From time to time the Soviets will even breach our shoreline with naval forces, but we're able to push them back with mass subs. And it looks like we have a battleship completed. Research, that is. The BBE-2 Fraude. Looks like a French word to me. Has decent, I guess you would say, anti-air capabilities, out to 250 kilometers with low attack at 310, and mid attack at 190, and high attack at 6. 128 is the length of firing, combat time. So those will come in handy, I imagine. Alright, at any rate, I'm going to stop the video here because I've got to work on these Soviets and not having my... Actually, I am. I'm going to order the Navy home. We really need their firepower. So let's order them home. I got repairs at max. As you can see, maintenance and training still have a long way to go on these Terra lamps. See what if anything I have in reserve here. Oh yes, the tornadoes we started with originally before we got the Terra lamps. They're just so bad though at combat, ground combat compared to the Terra lamps. Peregrines, again, that we had to use before we had the Terra lamps. Okay, I'm going to stop the video because basically all I'm going to do is be working, concentrating on our front lines and trying to push the Soviet back. And that's going to be a combination of naval forces and air forces and artillery up to a point. Hopefully we can get them back beyond the artillery range. Now, normally once we have pushed our front lines back, or the Soviet front lines back, I would move my forces forward. But here we have a unique situation with supply. There's absolutely zero supply for us out here. So the further we move away from our supply points, the less effective we are. So even if we can manage to push the Soviet front lines back, I'm going to keep our same line right here. So if anything substantial happens, I'll start the video again. But for now, that's all I'm going to do, start working on this line.